I can never really thank people enough to care enough to do what they're doing. And, whether you're donating $5 or $5,000 or whatever you're donating, people donate. It's very, very much appreciated, especially if it's something that's difficult for you to do. If somebody has $1 million and they donate $100, you still say thank you. But in Shamayim, they don't consider it very much. And the reason why is because it's below your means. When you bought a house that's above your means. When you started a business, your ambitions and goals were above what you would normally think. So your tzedakah should also be the same thing. But sometimes people have a very difficult time giving tzedakah because they work so hard for the money, they start feeling like they're making it. So when someone goes and donates money where it's a substantial amount of money, it's a 10% of what they make, whether it's out of a sale of a house or out of their salary, whatever it is, and they go out of their way to donate money, it's a very significant thing because you have to look at it. If you remember, we had a shiur a couple of years ago about gratitude. You have to look at it from the perspective, not just your own perspective, thank you very much, or the giver, thank you very much, but rather what actually transpired, what happened over there. Now, if you remember, a couple of years ago when we were still doing shiurim in Hollywood over there, my friend Asaf's house, we had a questions and answer series over there, and I asked you guys, if somebody gives you a pen, what do you say? If you're a normal person, you say thank you. Now, what are you saying thank you for? Thank you for the pen. Why? Because you needed a pen. And what do we learn after that? If that's all you're saying thank you for, you're an ungrateful person. Why? Because the pen is the least of what he gave you. The least of what he gave you. Why? Because you have to look at it from a deeper perspective. You have something important to write. Important enough that you're going to go out of your way and ask somebody for a pen. Now let's just say, we're in a Torah lecture over here. So let's say you want to write a chidush. You just had a thought. You read the Parashat Shavua, Parashat Bereshit. You thought some interesting things and you want to write it down. Why? Because you can't rely on your memory. You forget this chidush, it's gone forever. So you want to write it down because the rabbi said 500,000 times to write it down, even though nobody showed up with a notebook anyway. Still, the rabbi said, so we pretend like we're going to listen. So anyway, you have a pen. You showed up with the notebook with no pen. Anyway, somebody said, listen, I have a pen. You want a pen? Here's a pen. Now, that pen is not just a pen. That pen is a validation that you existed that day. That pen is something that's going to help you for the rest of your life, even though you're only going to use it for a few moments. Why? Because you're going to write a chidush, you're going to write a new insight, you're going to write a new idea, and that idea now becomes eternal. That idea becomes part of your book that you're going to take up to Shamayim. That idea now becomes part of your life. Whether you're going to implement it in a business or you're going to implement it in your life or personal life, whatever it is, that idea now goes into eternity. Now, if it wasn't for the guy that gave you the pen, guess what? That idea is wandering in like La La Land. It's either going to go on the top of the shelf or it's going to fall into the sink and into the sewer and you're going to forget about it forever. So really, when you think about it, and this is just scratching the surface, if it wasn't for him giving you the pen, that whole idea would be gone. And whatever fruits were going to come out of that idea, whether that was going to be an additional world or two in your Olam Haba, or there was going to be a new book you're going to write, or it's going to be a new business you're going to build, or it's going to be millions of dollars you're going to make, or it's going to be a new wife or husband you're going to meet, or it's going to be a different teachings or a shiur that's going to get you an infinity amount of mitzvot. 1.5 million different things are going to come out of this idea. If it wasn't for the pen, all of those go into the garbage. So when you only thank him for the pen, you're ungrateful. Why? Because you're only thinking of things on the surface. And that's a problem that we all have. So when someone goes out of their way and gives, you have to look at it in a way, well, hold on a second. This person, the money didn't fall into his pocket by itself. This person woke up early in the morning. He woke up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning like a champion that he is, to go pray, make sure that he prays before he goes to work. Then he went to work, got to work at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, broke his head the whole day dealing with customers, with bosses, with complaints, with the government, with the compliance officer, with all types of people that he really would rather not deal with, but he has to if he wants to get the money. And he worked, and sometimes he hurt himself, and sometimes he got annoyed, and sometimes he got offended, and sometimes she did this, and sometimes she did that. But the bottom line is they showed up to work, and they did a bunch of different things they want to do, and a bunch of different things they don't want to do. And more times than not, it's what you don't want to do, but you still do it because you have to do it, because you got to get the money. Why you got to get the money? So you could actually eat, and you could live, and you could have food for your kid, and you could have a house and a roof, and so on and so forth. But that's not really the only reason. Why? Because now after he did all of those things, he also remembered that aside from my house, and aside from the car, and aside from my kids, and aside from all those different things, I also got to take a few dollars and give it for the sake of Torah. Give it for the sake of publicizing Torah. If a person toiled so hard, you think about it, the guy worked 8, 10, 15 hours a day the whole week just to get a little check at the end of the week, or a big check, whatever it may be. And he actually, after working all of those hours, 40, 50, 60 hours during the week, he still decided to give me 10%. That means he just gave me 5 hours of his life. For what? So I can do mitzvot for him. That's an important person. That's a person you got to say thank you to. Why? Because that person toiled for it. Now if the person got it as a gift, his grandfather just gave him an inheritance of $1 million and he gave $100,000. Yeah, you should also say thank you. It's not the same level of thank you, because he didn't toil for it, but perhaps it could even be a higher level of thank you or lower, depending on his Yetzer Hara. If he has a huge Yetzer Hara for money, he's simply addicted to money, that means that for him to give a $100,000 donation was extremely hard for him, because he's addicted to money. The more money you have, the more money you want. So if he still gave money and you know it's hard for him, that's a person saying thank you twice. Why? Because this guy is dealing with Yetzer Hara from left and right, before he gave and after he gave. But if the person is just a splurger, he just gives, doesn't really care who, what, when, and how, it's hard to give him that much credit.
B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach, we're very excited to offer you the new Be'ezrat Hashem app 3.0. It's a newer, faster app, full of Torah, lots of Kedusha by the shiurim that we do, myself, Rav Ephraim, Rav Chaim, where you'll have also newer features where you're able to use the app while you're using other applications on your phone. You'll be able to share the lectures directly from the app. You'll be able to donate online and support our Cube and our Torah work that we're doing. And the most exciting feature is that you'll be able to actually ask questions directly on the app and get answers from the rabbis directly from the app. This is something unprecedented, and Baruch Hashem will be able to offer it. Thank you again for all of your support. Check it out. Make sure you have the kosher Torah that will re-energize your neshama each and every single day. Kol tu b'chava tzlacha.